What internet marketing expert should you spend your valuable time listening to? Listen to someone who has over 20 years of web marketing experience and hundreds of website marketing success stories. That man is Aaron Sparks from Site Strategics. And this is Edge of the Web Radio.
All right. Jumping on to it. Hey, we have an article from Kuzai by James Chalice, and it's if you haven't come across Kuzai, it's a great web team. They do marketing, obviously, but they also have a great blog, and they have some fantastic contributors into this blog. And one of the recent articles I came across, and I was holding back on really talking about Panda 4.0 until we started to get a handle on it. And there was an announcement several weeks back, and we mentioned it on the show whenever Panda came through, and the more recent Panda update. But I wanted to see how things were starting to fall into place. Now, Panda updates, the updates are actually following the same theme. They punish websites. I should say this. Google doesn't punish websites. It will reduce your previous value that you had.
Yeah.
So you may have been ranking for some pages that you may should have actually been ranking for.
Yeah. Right.
As opposed to, Google's not hunting out sites and delivering, punishing blows. It's a reevaluation of what you've got running on your website. So Panda has always been focused on, and the name Panda just comes from, they code name all their different angles.
They got to call it something.
They got to call it something. Yeah. And there was a penguin, there was a hummingbird, all the menagerie of animals start coming out of Google. But this one started back in 2011, and they were starting to penalize sites that had web spam content that looked to be suspicious of trying to game the system. So they have a full index of your site, and if it starts to fall into these lineups of duplicate content or auto-generated content, or more importantly, this probably affects more sites, is the thin content.
Yeah.
Maybe one sentence on a page.
We're seeing that.
Yeah.
We're seeing that a lot. Yeah.
It's and those are the things that you may not even realize unless you hold the lens up to your website going, all right, how do these pages really look? The fact of the matter is that you need to be ever cognizant of changes that Google provides, and then see if you're possibly tripping across that penalty wire. So this article is really good, and we'll have a link on the site. At edgeofthewebradio.com. But check this out. There are several detailed reviews of how this change has actually impacted larger sites. And there's one from Cognitive SEO, which is a great tool that we use. But the key is to understand how to avoid the impact and help a website capitalize on this, right? So like we went through, there was a brief history of the Google environment, the Panda changes, the algorithm changes. But basically, there's nowadays these updates are actually drip fed into an algorithm, so the impact is less severe and ongoing. So these big slams of changes aren't happening anymore. It's kind of dripping out of Google, and they're also not announcing it nearly as much.
Well, and people should know that it doesn't happen. So if Panda 4 is released today and the algorithm hits, they don't instantly just, my rank changed. Yeah. It's over the next few weeks as the ripples kind of flow out.
That's right.
So a lot of people freak out.
Yep.
Their site drops in rank, but then, a week later it actually increases and gradually exceeds where it was before.
Right. Exactly.
Because the quality of the search results are better and everything else. So don't freak out. Call someone.
But here's the important point is you need to have baselines.
Yes.
If you're not paying attention to your web analytics.
Amen, brother.
Oh, there it is. Preaching to the choir here. But we need to evangelize this. We really need.
Yes.
If you're not plugged into your website, if you're not tracking different ranks of keywords that are important to you, because you know that keywords are not being seen inside of analytics anymore, you need to have some kind of leads on the patient, making sure that you are paying attention to the performance of the site. There are some sites that appear to have really been hurt by Panda, but they're primarily press release websites, such as PR Web. Okay, First and foremost, guys, stop using PR Web for any type of link building strategies. Don't do it. They still do it, Doug. And we've told them, but they still do it. Or PR Log, right? This fits into the overall aim of Google to rank sites that provide useful and unique content above other sites. Other types of sites that reportedly lost ranks are automated and template-based websites. This is where the e-commerce should really be concerned, because many online stores selling product that are available elsewhere often use the product descriptions from the manufacturers or supplier. Okay, stop right there. For e-commerce, do not use the database that you're given by your distributor. Okay, there's a lot of dropshipper e-commerce that are out there. This will hurt you if you've got duplicate content, and a lot of times very thin content of just single lines of description for product. Okay, and this is the tough thing. Write it yourself. Describe it yourself. Put your effort into, or pay somebody to create this data in a better, more robust fashion. Okay, it's going to harm any potential success that you can have. One major site that actually fits the mold is eBay, and it had been claimed that the site lost a huge amount of search visibility over the last few weeks. It's also possible that the site actually received a manual penalty. However, all overall indications from Panda 4.0 suggest that the site would have been negatively hit regardless. So let's just jump into some points of interest here. We really need to look at what you need to do to help reduce that, and what you should be paying attention to preparing for a Panda attack in the future. Unless you have access to a multi-million-dollar marketing incoming.
Sorry.
Unless you have access to a multi-million-dollar marketing budget to take on the global players on online shopping, it's important for you to need to take the idea of working smarter to develop a digital marketing strategy. Okay, specialized stores, not these bulk, huge 10,000 product launches. You need to stay away from that. Instead of selling so many, have some niche stores. Have some multiple niche stores if you need to. As well as increasing the traffic from search engines, education also helps the user better understand the product that's being sold, and has been able to show increase in conversion rates. So pay attention to the descriptions. Pay attention to the content that's around each product, because it's not only about the tomes of traffic that you're hoping to achieve. It's about giving the users what they're looking for when they get there, right?
Yep.
Content plans. Having a strong content plan that can turn generic product descriptions into unique and insightful information that users and search engines regard as valuable. This can be achieved by creating semi-professional video demonstrations, personal insights, and detailed reviews for the most profitable products on the site. You should be focused on these type of manners to reduce any type of penalty that could be ascribed to your site. Resolve the duplication issues. Try to avoid using any manufacturer's product description. If your CMS, your content management system, automatically creates multiple pages for each product, make sure you use the canonical tags to indicate the primary source if possible, and add a no index tag to the head of each of these additional pages. It's very important that you groom this site correctly and make sure that you've got unique content and not duplication at all. Another prime focus that we're going to wrap up on this one is user engagement. User engagement is now a very important metric on gauging how useful the page has been for a user.
So there was a recent Matt Cutts video, Webmaster blog video, where he talked about one of the biggest factors that they look at is the bounce rate of that web page.
Oh, see, and we talk about it on a regular basis.
And but I've heard mixed with that, right? Because I've heard Google say no, we do not.
That's what they
utilize.
say.
I know. The thing that gets me is if let's say they don't use bounce.
Yep.
But when someone clicks on a search engine result, do they measure if they came back to the search engine?
You better believe it. And that's how they...
Yes.
See, that's a splitting hairs.
Right.
Because if you're using analytics, and then if users believe that Google's paying attention to those analytics,
right,
they're going to stop using the tool altogether. They are absolutely doing that. They're paying attention to the return visits and how much time actually somebody
spent on the site and how long they spent on that site before returning back to the results.
That's right. That's right. So those are very important factors. Overall, those are some clear points of interest that you have. If you have an e-commerce environment going on, if you are getting the data from a manufacturer and doing nothing to replace and change that, stop right now, look at it, and decide about your content strategy, because you're going to have to do it right now. Panda 4.0 is here, and it's about to wreak havoc on your site if you don't pay attention to these particular factors.